Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency says it has already saved money. It sounds like the end of the argument. Savings are measurable. Either the money was spent or it wasn't. Either it's gone or it's still there. But that certainty depends entirely upon how the word saved is being used. And once you examine how that works, the claim starts to disintegrate. The Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, claims that it has saved money. And that claim sounds concrete, objective, and hard to argue with. Large dollar figures give the impression that something real has already happened, that waste has been eliminated and value has been recovered. But when you look closely at what those numbers actually represent, the confidence of the claims begins to collapse. Most of what DOGE represents as savings does not represent money that was removed from the budget, recovered from contracts, or no longer spent by the government. Instead, it consists largely of projections, assumptions, and accounting maneuvers that reframe potential outcomes as accomplished outcomes. Once you understand that distinction, the entire DOGE narrative changes. The first issue is definition. DOGE rarely distinguishes between money that has already been saved and money that has merely been identified as potentially reducible. In government budgeting, savings only exist when spending authority is legally removed, contracts are canceled, or expenditures are reduced on the books. Pointing at a program and calling it wasteful doesn't save a penny. It expresses an opinion. Much of what DOGE represents as savings falls into the category of projected or notional savings. These are estimates based on assumptions about what might happen if certain programs were eliminated, restructured, or deprioritized. But assumptions are not outcomes. A proposal to save money is not the same as money saved, especially in a system where funds are appropriated by Congress, obligated through contracts, and often legally committed to years in advance. In many cases, the claimed savings depend on changes that have not occurred and may never occur. Programs mandated by statute cannot simply be turned off by identifying supposed inefficiency. Entitlement spending doesn't disappear because someone questions its value. Regulatory budgets are often tied directly to legal requirements that agencies cannot ignore without violating the law. Treating these hypothetical reductions as realized savings assumes authority that DOGE simply does not possess. This distinction matters because it separates analysis from accounting. Analysis can suggest where money might be saved. Accounting records where money actually was saved. DOGE often blurs that line by presenting possibility as fact and intention as execution. Another issue is double counting. Large headline numbers frequently bundle together figures that can't be realized simultaneously. The same dollar may be counted once as a reduction in future spending and again as an efficiency gain, even though only one of those can occur. In some cases, delays are treated as savings, even though delayed spending is still spending. Pushing a cost into the next fiscal year doesn't eliminate it. It just moves it. This kind of accounting inflates perceived impact while leaving actual budgets largely unchanged. It creates the appearance of decisive action without the legal or financial follow-through required to make that action real. There's also the issue of scope. Many of the savings DOGE claims are outside the control of any advisory or symbolic body. Agencies cannot unilaterally cancel programs created by Congress. They cannot rewrite statutory mandates, Counting money that only Congress can legally remove as DOGE savings is a category error. Even if legislators later adopt similar cuts, that does not retroactively validate the original claim. Influence is not execution, and recommendation is not authority. Even when cuts are real, context still matters. Reducing a program's budget doesn't automatically produce net savings if it increases costs elsewhere. Cutting inspections may reduce agency spending while increasing accident-related costs downstream. Reducing compliance staff can save salaries while increasing fraud, waste, and abuse. Government budgets are interconnected systems, and isolated cuts often shift costs rather than eliminate them. These downstream costs are rarely included in DOGE-style savings, even though they're predictable consequences of the actions being praised. Despite all of this, the saving claims remain politically effective because they feel good. Large numbers create the impression, of seriousness. They signal competence without requiring explanation. Most people are not auditing federal budget mechanics, and they shouldn't have to. DOGE relies on the gap between how budgeting feels and how budgeting actually works. They're designed to survive repetition while waving a chainsaw. In the end, DOGE's claims to have saved money function less as financial statements and more as rhetorical devices. They convert frustration into figures and symbolism into statistics. They allow supporters to say something tangible has been achieved without confronting the legal, structural, and economic realities of government finance. It doesn't mean waste doesn't exist or that reform isn't necessary. It means that real savings are slow, specific, and usually smaller than slogans suggest. DOGE's numbers don't fail because government is impossible to fix. They fail because they redefine what saved means. And that tells us exactly what DOGE was built to do: mindlessly reward anger.